Let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
It's me. Counselor Jones, Counselor Geisler, Counselor LeBlanc,
Here.
Counselor Jelly,
Here.
Mayor Boucher.
Here. Announcements. Do any counselors have announcements they'd like to make?
No.
Thank you. We have no public hearing tonight. Public correspondence are all on record, nothing to highlight. Mr. Mulder, could you give us a short synopsis of the presentations at today's pre-agenda meeting?
Kevin Orm reviewed the second quarter financials. We are in good shape as far as our expenditures and budgets go. I gave a brief update on the 2025 budget. We are working to maintain the tax rate the same. We do have expenditures of about 8% and does not include any new positions. Joe Wickland gave a brief update on the various sources for the Fickner Park funding. And then Zach Graves gave an update on the Public Safety Department and the responses by the fire department and how that's worked under our new system.
Thank you. And now we come to public discussion. We will have different types of public discussion this evening. This time is for general items not on the agenda. We ask that you limit your time to 3 minutes per person. If your item is on the agenda, there will be a time for public discussion during the consideration of that item. Is there anyone that wishes to address the council this evening about a general item not on the agenda? If anyone wishes to address the council, please come to the podium, or if you're online, start with your name and address. Is there anyone who wishes to address the council this evening? Hearing none, we'll move on to motions. Motion A, approve the following tobacco license application effective August 20th, 2024 through December 31st, 2024, contingent upon complete application being received, successful background checks and license fees being paid. This is a new license. Atlantic Gas LLC, 5691 Highway 2. Is there a motion? Motion by Counselor Geisler. Do we have a second? Second by Counselor Jones. Roll call, please.
Jones?
Aye.
Counselor Geisler? Aye. Counselor Jelly?
Aye.
Counselor LeBlanc?
Aye.
Mayor Boucher.
Aye. Next, motion B, to approve the following THC applications effective August 20th, 24 through December 31st, 2024. Contingent upon complete applications being received, successful background checks and license fees being paid in full. Quick Trip 572 at 4145 Haynes Road. Quick Trip 220 at 4978 Miller Trunk Highway. And Quick Trip 216 at 4805 Miller Trunk Highway. Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Counselor Jelly to approve. Is there a second? Second by Counselor Jones. Roll call, please.
Counselor Geisler? Aye. Counselor Jelly?
Aye.
Counselor LeBlanc?
Aye.
Counselor Jones?
Aye.
Mayor Boucher.
Aye. Next is a motion to appoint the following counselors as representatives to negotiate with the following unions. IUOE Local 49, Mayor Boucher and Counselor Jelly. LELS Local number 47, Counselor Geisler and Counselor LeBlanc. Ask Me Local 66, Mayor Boucher and Counselor Jones. And LELS Supervisory Unit, Counselor Geisler and Counselor LeBlanc. Do we have a motion?
Move to approve.
Motion by Counselor LeBlanc. Is there a second? Second by Counselor Jones. Roll call, please.
Jelly?
Aye.
Counselor LeBlanc?
Aye.
Counselor Jones?
Aye.
Counselor Geisler? Mayor Boucher.
Aye. Next, we have the consent agenda. We have minutes and accounts payable, but we are also adding items 168 through 172 to the consent agenda to table for further consideration. The work on these items is not complete, so they are not ready for presentation at this time. Is there any objection to including these agenda items in the consent agenda from the public? Any public objection to adding these items to the consent agenda? Any public objection to adding items 168 through 172 to the consent agenda for tabling? Okay, in minutes, we have approval or correction of the August 5th, 2024 City Council continuation minutes and accounts payable approved general city warrants from August 1st, 2024 through August 15th, 2024 in the amount of $1,714,614.04 and table items 2024-168, 169, 170, 171, and 172. Is there a motion for the consent agenda? Motion by Counselor Jones. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Counselor LeBlanc. Roll call, please.
Counselor LeBlanc,
Aye.
Counselor Jones,
Aye.
Counselor Geisler, Counselor Jelly,
Aye.
Mayor Boucher.
Aye. Ordinances, we have a first reading of ordinance 2024-08. An ordinance amending Title II of the Hermantown City Code by amending the official zoning map. We'll ask staff for an explanation of this in a second, but there will be a period available for public comment on this. Even though we will not be voting on this tonight, a second reading of this ordinance is scheduled for our next council meeting in September. Mr. Mulder, should we have Mr. Johnson handle this? Eric, would you explain this ordinance?
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Mayor and members of the council. Before us, it's a rezoning application to change two parcels in the Sunnyview Acres subdivision from P Public to R3 residential. As I mentioned, these two parcels comprise 2.3 acres total. This property was rezoned back in 2015, actually from R3 to public. The rationale at that time was these two parcels have been the site of the Brand Pet Cemetery, which had been active from 1960 through the early 2000s. Back in 2015, staff had reached out to the owner at that time, Juwan Brand, who had a discussion with her regarding the actual property and use of the property. At that point, it had not been maintained for over 10 years. Granted, this was back in 2015. Ms. Brand at that point did give her concurrence for the rezoning from the R3 to the P Public in order to memorialize that use of the property. The current property owner inherited the two parcels from Ms. Brand after her passing. And earlier this year had reached out to city staff asking about looking at the rezoning this property back to R3. The staff did a what's called an ownership and encumbrances report, found no record of a memorialization, or basically from a legal standpoint, of this as a cemetery use. So what we did, we brought this forward to the Planning and Zoning Commission, as well as put a notice in the Hermantown Star regarding the potential rezoning of that property. And after concurrence with the existing property owner now, said to the public that they had the opportunity, if they so wish, to either remove any markers, memorials, et cetera, from this property should they wish. But the past 3+ weeks since this has been out in the public, staff has received numerous phone calls. 2 or 3 actually had they had pets actually in the pet cemetery, and they were able to retrieve markers. So the goal of the staff was to at least give the people the opportunity, and it seems that it has been working.
Thank you. Like I said, this is a first reading. We will not be voting on this evening, but is there any public comment at this time on this ordinance? Is there any public comment on ordinance 2024-08? Any public comment on the rezoning ordinance for 2 pieces of property on Sunnyview Road? And we will move on then to resolutions. Resolution 2024-161. Resolution authorizing the issuance, sale, and delivery of $16,225,000 in general obligation bonds, Series 2024B. Do we have a motion? Motion by Counselor Jones. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Counselor LeBlanc. Mr. Mulder.
Todd Hagan from Ellers is here to give you a brief update on the sale of those and what it actually means for the city.
Great. Thanks, John. Mayor, council members, Todd Hagan from Ellers and Associates. Thanks for the nice evening driving back up here to Hermantown. As always, I see your parks coming along as well, driving down the road. So things are happening in Hermantown. So this is the B bond that we talked about, being the larger bond. You guys just keep giving us bond issues. We appreciate it. And this is to help finance the ice arena expansion for the school district. And I was here on July 1st for the pre-sale report. And then we got all the terms and conditions figured out to get this packaged up and sold. In the meantime, then I know you held a public hearing for a tax abatement for part of the building expansion, part of that arena as well. So, and then we also had a bond rating, another bond rating, not a call, because we just had already done one in June for the A bonds. So it was mostly just on email questions and answers for Kevin and John and myself, just to kind of go through with the folks at Standard & Poor's and just making sure we answer all their questions and hopefully maintain our AA stable bond rating, which we did, by the way. So they knew it was coming when we issued the A bonds. So just a little bit of tweaks to some questions and answers back and forth on the email, and staff did a great job, and they did compliment us the quick turnaround answering their questions. So we're happy about that. So in the packet, I've got a sale day report for you. You can read that report. It pretty much reads like the same that did in June. But the analyst at Standard & Poor's did note there was some new economic data that came in the meantime, and it was good for you folks because your incomes are higher than they saw since the last time we all spoke in June. So your economic score in the Standard & Poor's report increased from strong to very strong. So that's great. Although your debt is high, the nice thing about Hermantown is you have other sources of revenue that help pay the bonds, not just property taxes. So there wasn't really an issue with that from Standard & Poor's standpoint. So pretty much status quo as the report reads. So AA stable outlook as before. So you can take a look at that. It's got some good highlights to it. There's some bullet points in there. So you have a very strong economy, solid finances due to predictable revenues, strong management with good financial management policies and plans. We go through those with you folks. So those are kind of some quick bullet points, positive things for Hermantown or in the rating report. So then up to 10 o'clock this morning, then after we packaged this whole thing up to sell it out into the market, it was 10 o'clock is when we opened bids on the bond issue. We had 11 bidders signed up, and 8 or 9 signed up and ready to go on this. All 8 of the 9 bid on the bonds, and we picked up 3 more. So we got 11 bids on the bond issue this morning. I think that's a record high for Hermantown bidding on bonds. I look back all the way back to the 2 wellness center bonds in 18 and 19, and it fluctuated from 5 to 4 to 3 to 5 to 6. So you almost doubled it there. So congratulations. We had other bonds sold today. Hermantown, of course, we had St. Louis Park, and then another bond issue just today. So
So it was some competition out there, but you guys were at 10 o'clock and you got 11 bids, which is great. So if you want to take a look at the sale day report, if you've got that. Also, there's just a quick summary of how this bond issue played out. So TD Securities out of New York was the best bid at 3.56%, and that's about 48 basis points or 0.48% less than our pre-sale reports, almost a 0.5% less than what we'd put in to go out to bids in the pre-sale report. And then UBS Financial out of New York, it was 3.569. So pretty close there. And Low Financial out of Chicago, 3.61%. Bach out of Milwaukee, 3.61, and then Baird out of Milwaukee, 3.62. 3, and then Jeffries was close at 3.624. And then we got a Kansas Bank and a Minneapolis, and then St. Petersburg, Florida, and then Cleveland, Ohio. And then last was Hilltop Securities out of Dallas at 3.77. So if you look at, calculate just the interest difference between the low and the high bid, it's $587,000 of interest expense and some change there. So again, it pays to send a quality bond issue, highly rated, like the Hermantown bond is, out to the market just to go out for bids. So that's great, because there would be no way of knowing that TD Securities out of New York would have been the best bid without throwing it out there. So that's great. So we did receive a premium on the bid like we did for the A bonds, a little bit less than we did on the A bonds. So we lowered the bond issue down by $815,000. So it's no longer 17,040,000. It is now at the 16,225,000, and that was due to reduction of the cost of issuance, underwriters discount or fee that they charge to reoffer the bonds, and then we got a premium, which is that cash that is given to us from TD Securities. The difference between basically the coupon rate and the reoffering rate, there's some money to be made right in between those two rates. So that's called a premium. We obviously took it and we lowered the bond issue down. And so we're fully funded with the bond bill money that you've got, and we're ready for a closing on September 5th. So you'll get all this bond money on September 5th. I think Kevin's okay with that as the closing date. And so you do have a council action for a resolution from the Freiberger Law Firm in Duluth. They're the bond attorney, your bond attorneys on this. So that's what we'll be looking for, council action later on. But I am here for any questions you might have. Again, appreciate, staff. We had to move things around a little bit and make some adjustments, and I think we've got it obviously all set, and this is all final, and it's all fixed rate. So we should be good to go on this bond issue. So I yield to you for any questions or comments you might have for me.
Any questions? Todd, great job as usual.
Well, thank you.
Each time you get a little bit better on this, and you're going to get to a point where it's going to be hard to beat your last time.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I don't know. It's but practice makes perfect here in Hermantown. So I appreciate all the activity you folks have. So. Yeah. Yep. It's all right. And then, it's a public bond offering, so it doesn't necessarily follow that Fed rate, that they're talking about lowering. So it's really supply and demand out there in the market. These bonds get resold, reoffered to customers on the retail side. Insurance companies got to put their money into somewhere and all that. So it's not really banks are buying it. As a matter of fact, this one's these, if you remember, they're non-bank qualified. They're too large. So we're not really getting any banks probably bidding on this. There might be a few participants in there, but not so much. So it's really public market bond money. So supply and demand. Thank you. Appreciate it. All right. Thank you.
Is there any public input on this bond sale? Any public input on resolution 2024-161? Any public input on the authorization, issuance and sale of general obligation bonds? Roll call, please.
Counselor Geisler. Counselor Jelly.
Aye.
Counselor LeBlanc.
Aye.
Counselor Jones. Mayor Boucher.
Aye. Next is resolution 2024-162. Resolution approving a revised letter authorizing Kraus Anderson to proceed with construction of ice arena. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Counselor Jelly. Is there a second? Second by Counselor Geisler. Mr. Mulder.
So we awarded a vast majority of the bid package two last meeting. This is simply AA requesting authorization to proceed based upon that second bid package. We have like 3 or 4 scopes left to bid, and then we'll have the GMP. But again, they want to get these contractors lined up and starting ordering supplies. So they're asking authorization to proceed.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from council? Is there any public input on this resolution? Any public input on resolution 2024-162? Any public input on the resolution and approving a revised letter for Kraus Anderson to proceed with construction of the ice arena? Roll call, please.
Counselor Jelly.
Aye.
Counselor LeBlanc.
Aye.
Counselor Jones. Counselor Geisler. Mayor Boucher.
Aye. Next is resolution 2024-163. Resolution approving change order number 19 for road improvement project number 534, Uggstead and Arrowhead Roads. Is there a motion? Motion by Counselor Jones. Is there a second? Second by Counselor Geisler. Mr. Mulder, would you like to take this or would you like our city engineer?
Well, let me try. This is for changes relative to some pavement markings, some drainage improvements, and then we made an improvement on the entrance to the school administration lot. We put in a curb along the sidewalk and just made that entrance to the parking lot a little bit better.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from council? Any public input on this resolution? Any public input on the resolution approving change order number 19 for road improvement project number 534? Is there any public input on resolution 2024-163? Roll call, please.
Counselor LeBlanc.
Aye.
Counselor Jones. Counselor Geisler. Counselor Jelly.
Aye.
Mayor Boucher.
Aye. Resolution 2024-164, resolution approving pay request number 9 for road improvement district number 534 to Yulin Brothers Incorporated in the amount of $147,473.79. Is there a motion? Motion by Counselor Geisler. Do we have a second? Second by Counselor Jones. Mr. Mulder.
So this is just the next pay app for the work being done on Uggstead Road, for the work that was done most recently.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from council? Any public input on this resolution? Any public input on resolution approving pay request number 9 for road improvement district number 534? Is there any public input for resolution 2024-164? Roll call, please.
Counselor Jones. Counselor Geisler. Counselor Jelly.
Aye.
Counselor LeBlanc.
Aye.
Mayor Boucher.
Aye. Next is resolution 2024-165. Resolution approving pay request number 3 for Fickner Park improvements to Caskey Incorporated in the amount of $970,064. Is there a motion?
Move to approve.
Motion by Counselor Jelly. Do we have a second? Second by Counselor Jones. Mr. Mulder?
This is pay application number 3. This is just for the work that's been done in the last month at Fickner Park.
Thank you. Any public input on this resolution? Any public input on the approval of pay request number 3 for Fickner Park improvements? Is there any public input on resolution 2024-165? Roll call, please.
Counselor Geisler, Counselor Jelly,
Aye.
Counselor LeBlanc,
Aye.
Counselor Jones, Mayor Boucher.
Aye. Next is resolution 2024-166. Resolution authorizing and directing mayor and city clerk to execute and deliver utility service agreement with Jesse Stokey. Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Counselor Jelly. Is there a second? Second by Counselor Geisler. Mr. Mulder?
I'm not sure who's presenting that. Is Trish, are you doing that?
Sure. So approximately 6 weeks ago, City Council approved a two-family home or a twin home duplex associated on Misty Morning at the over just south of Maple Grove Road. As part of this project, there is sanitary sewer that runs in front of this parcel, but water stops approximately 150 feet short of that to the north. So the applicant, Mr. Stokey, as part of his work, is going to be extending that water main 150 feet down, so to be able to provide access to this property. City will be able to supply a hydrant as well as a valve. So in the case of any extension of this water main in the future, I would be able to hook into that without cutting off water to the people to the north of that. Upon a completion of this work, as well as inspection and acceptance by city staff, it'd be recommended to city council that the city take ownership of that water main and become part of our inventory.
Thank you. Any questions or comments by council?
I guess I got one little thing to say here, and we can talk about it being a past administration and a different group and all that stuff, but this work is being passed off onto a resident of Hermantown based on the short-sightedness of the city in the past. And we can talk about funding and all that stuff too, but when the water was put on that street, it was 2 separate buildable lots. And we didn't provide water to one of those lots when we put the water. You know, and that feels like it's getting pushed back on someone that's looking to improve our town and our city. You know, and we've run into these little issues kind of all over the place in Hermantown. You know, it's prevented the sale of a rather large piece of property, and we've talked about that at council too. So it just feels like it should be the city's job to rectify some past mistakes. There's not a ton of them, but they are out there. At the very least, we should be at least covering the labor to install the hydrant. I mean, it's my understanding we are supplying the hydrant. We probably should cover the cost of installing it. It's got nothing to do with his house. So, my 2 cents on the issue.
Any other comments from council? Mr. Geisler?
Yep. The city would make that part for this lot. Yeah, maybe the city, I'm assuming didn't water line for nothing then. It was paid for through the developer, the sale of the lot. So short-sightedness, not to extend it all the way. Our ordinance now it says it has to be wrong. So I think we're in a better place to rectify future problems, but.
And I'd like to point out that in the past, if this was done as a development, it was all on the developer to do at the time. If this would have been a city project and the water line was put in by the city would have assessed all of the available lots and provided service to all those lots. So in effect, the developer created a lower value for these lots when they put in the water line and didn't serve these lots. So the price and money it's not a one-for-one trade-off in what happened before versus what has to happen now.
Yeah. And larger discussion on the assessments aside.
Right. But it did lower the value of the property when that subdivision was put in. And if it would have been a subdivision where they would have petitioned the city for water, the city would have put the water to every available lot and assessed every available lot. So roughly this, a similar charge would have occurred back then and been assessed against the property.
I would be interested to see if that last lot got assessed when the water was put down that street.
I believe it was a private developer, and that private developer put it all in and built that cost into the price of each lot and then turned it over to the city later. That's just my guess.
I mean, we don't want to go.
We
off
can,
the
we can
rails,
get
but he
history
said,
on
yeah,
that. But there's just all kinds of different nuances and variances that could have happened in the past. I do question why when the sewer was put in that the water line wasn't extended
that's why
as long as they were in the ground.
I don't think that that development had water and sewer initially. That's why, but anyway. Cause I mean, it'd be far cheaper to put a well in, but we won't allow him to do that because he's 150 feet from a water main, so.
Anything else from council? Is there any public input on this resolution? If so, please step forward to the podium and state your name and address.
I guess I'll speak real quick since Councilor LeBlanc brought that up. Jesse Stokey. I live at 4914 Trails End Drive. I'm the individual that has agreed with the city to extend this to a property that was originally two different lots. I am acquiring this property from my parents who have lived there since 1981. They own the lot on the end, and they own the lot where they're at. Initially, there were two separate lots. And I believe, like I said, this is all back in the files. I believe this development was built by Mr. Moline, and that lot was originally there as a single lot. I don't know if the city or the Moline extended the water main and the sewer, but that sewer, to my knowledge, the city and my parents agreed on a parcel at the end where they put a lift station, which I don't believe was just put there. I believe there was a mutual agreement. But like I say, to this day, I still question why that water wasn't extended down. And I have agreed to work with the city to get it done because it was my understanding I have no other choice. And I appreciate what Councilor LeBlanc said because it is something that is going to fall on my shoulders to get you a taxable property on the end of there that I believe is going to be something that can benefit the city of Hermantown. So again, I appreciate what Councilor LeBlanc brought up, and I hope you guys strongly consider that in the future. That what happened in the past doesn't just get brushed under the rug, and you rectify what could have been wrong. So thank you.
Thank you. Any other public input on this resolution? Any other public input on the resolution? 2024-166. Roll call, please.
Councilor Jelly,
Aye.
Councilor LeBlanc,
Nay,
Councilor Jones. Aye. Councilor Geisler, Mayor Boucher.
Nay. Resolution 2024-167. Resolution approving an amendment to the city handbook regarding construction contract bidding practices. Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Counselor Jelly. Do we have a second? Second by Counselor Geisler. Mr. Mulder?
This is an amendment to the handbook that we have regarding the bidding process. And recently we reviewed that after we did electronic bidding. So this change kind of updates that based upon the ability to do electronic bidding.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from council? Hearing none, do we have any public input on this resolution? Any public input on the resolution approving an amendment to the city handbook? Is there any public input on resolution 2024-167? Roll call, please.
Counselor LeBlanc,
Aye.
Counselor Jones, Counselor Geisler. Aye. Counselor Jelly,
Hey,
Mayor Boucher.
Aye.
hi.
You said A,
I'm ready now.
pirate tonight.
I know what you meant.
Okay, the last item on our agenda is a motion to adjourn. Do we have that motion? Recess. Motion by Counselor Jones to recess. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Counselor LeBlanc. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign.